A great coach helps you be the best version of yourself, particularly when it comes to human interactions and leadership. A great coach could coach anyone. They could coach a head of sales, a head of technology, a CEO. A mentor, a better way of calling it is a functional mentor. A functional mentor is someone who has done your job at a more senior level in your company and can help teach you the stuff about your job that you've never done before. Like a coach can't really do that unless you have a coach that also used to be a CEO or a CRO or whatever. And then a peer group is just a place to vent, and it's a place to share current learnings, best practices, that it's, think of that as like the river of information as opposed to like point in time work.
And it seems like together with the psychometric instruments you also mentioned, like it's really optimized for giving people tons and tons of feedback about their performance and almost challenge in terms of looking again at yourself, reflecting more, setting the bar higher.
Absolutely. And that's another point that I would make that I think is so important is getting great at feedback. And I don't mean giving feedback, although yes, you have to be good at giving feedback if you want to scale up your team. You have to get great at getting feedback. And, I have a really simple formula with feedback. One, ask for it. That's where it has to start. Most CEOs don't ask for it, right? So you have to ask for it. You have to create a place for people to give feedback, which could take lots of different forms. Two is you have to accept it gracefully. And gracefully means you don't argue, you don't debate it, you don't sit there with a scowl on your face and your arms crossed. You thank people for the feedback and you write it all down.
Which doesn't necessarily mean you agree with it, as I always say.
The third thing you have to do is process it. And processing it means you have to internalize it, and then you have to figure out which parts make the most sense. When you get a 360 and your board's giving you feedback, your management team's giving you feedback, you get a lot of information. And the reality is nobody sees your job the way you see your job. And it's easy for the board to say more accountability for results. And it's easy for your team to get annoyed because they didn't get, their way with something or other. And that doesn't mean you get to discount all of the feedback, but it does mean that you have the ability to process it and to internalize it and to figure out which pieces of it are most important and most actionable. And then the next step is act on it. And then the next step is ask for it again. I heard you. How am I doing? Thank you for the feedback.
How much acting do you recommend, especially if you get a plethora of feedback? Of course, in your processing, you'll filter a lot of it already. But what's your general recommendation on how much change can you process at one point in time or incorporate it at one point in time?
I mean, it kind of depends what the feedback is, but I always say the best development plans, so the best distillation of feedback has like no more than 3 points on it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And sometimes one. Like if there's one big thing you got to work on, focus on one big thing, but it's really hard to do more than a few. And the trick of processing feedback is figuring out how to prioritize it and make it actionable. And a good coach who runs a good 360 process for you will help you do that. You got to do, at the end of the day, like a coach is your helper and enabler, but it's you. It's not up to the coach to write your development plan. That means you have not internalized the feedback.
And if the coach tries to advise you too much or do the work for you, then they're probably not the best coach you could get, right?